Hey, Tim Holstad, singer songwriter. Thanks for stopping. So, today we're going to talk about Austin, the conclusion of this terrible trilogy, for me anyway. But again, there are a lot of lessons to be learned from this, and well, this was, for better or worse, kind of some defining moments for me. So, when we left you last, we'd done the show, got through the events of Sunday, got a solution supposedly to getting back home. Only if it were that simple. And so, just had some good times with people. And just kind of wrapped the event up. So here we are, Monday morning. It's time to go. I've supposedly got a rental at the airport waiting for me. If I can just get there and come back, load up everything, head back. Well, anyway, ran into one of the musicians. We had talked the day prior, most likely, but the details are kind of hazy now. Anyway, he gave me a lift to the airport, the Austin airport, where I supposedly had a rental car all set. And so I thanked him, took the walk through various places to get to where the rental car place, the counter was where I was going to rent this vehicle. And should have happened without a hitch, but nothing really did with this trip. It turns out it was more than I was quoted. And things had been kind of really expensive this trip, and all the funds weren't in one place. So it turns out they won't take a debit card. They wouldn't let me split things over 2 cards. They wouldn't take cash. And it's just very difficult. I mean, what am I going to do? And so I'm trying to find some way to get out of this, and the time is ticking, and I'm trying to figure out some way to go. And I came back a couple of times with a couple of other different things. Found a place that I could withdraw money from, and I figured, well, they'll take cash. They've got to take cash. No, we can't process it. And so time is ticking away, and it's like, what am I going to do? It happened twice that I was basically less than 2 hours away from essentially being homeless and losing all my gear. It was just a horrible experience, just a horrible, horrible feeling. Like, God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? And I called the hotel. I explained my situation, and they were great. I would definitely stay there again. Very understanding, very much just don't worry about it. Just take care of what you got to take care of. We'll extend the checkout time. Your gear will still be here. Don't worry about it. Just do what you have to do. Just really appreciated how understanding they were with everything. And so I was trying to find a way out of this. And I messaged people, maybe you guys have some ideas. Here's what's going on, and people are trying to be helpful and everything. And it was just such an incredibly difficult experience because I thought I had it all set. I was told it's all good, and then I get there and it's more than I've quoted, and it's I've had all these extra expenses, and things are getting tight now, and it's just really a really difficult situation. And I could belabor this again. I could spend a long time on this aspect of it, just suffice it to say, it was awful. It was just a terrible feeling. I had to call the hotel a second time and ask them to extend the checkout time for another couple hours, and they were very nice about it. No problem, just don't worry about it, just take care of what you got to. Your gear will still be here. So let's cut to the quick with this. I wish I'd handled all of this better, but I've been under this kind of stress for, here it is Monday. Since that previous Thursday, I've been, going on less sleep, doing the driving and everything. Friday is when things really hit the fan. The vehicle dies. Went through all that odyssey, finally get to the hotel and crash. 3 a.m. Saturday morning, day of the show. There's everything that has gone on to try and get there, and I'm playing that night on not my best, on fumes basically, but the show must go on, and it worked, thankfully. It didn't feel like it at the time, but I got there, I played the show, I did what I said I was gonna do, and people appreciated it, as it turned out. And so there's the struggle Sunday, trying to find a way, find somebody who's got a rental vehicle, and it did work, or so I thought. And here we are Monday morning, and it still hasn't worked. And I'm going through all this, and I'm trying to find a way. I've got to get back home. I've got to save my gear. Something has to work. And it's really, really a near thing. And I am messaging with the guy that dropped me off. And basically he's saying, listen, you bank at a credit union, right? Well, yeah. Well, dude, you can overdraw your account with them. Tell them the situation. They will give you the funds. I have to do this all the time. Just call them. So, it's like, oh, hey, I hadn't thought of this. I wasn't thinking very clearly at this point. It was just a horrible experience. But it's like, yeah. And now it's late enough in the day that definitely they're going to be open. So, I thanked him, obviously, and, I picked up the phone to actually call somebody. Isn't that amazing? It strikes me as just really incredibly funny. We've got these phones, and rarely do people call anybody anymore, it seems. At least, with some of the generations out there. But anyway, I've got my phone. It's still working, at least. No, the battery didn't die on that. So I place a call to my credit union back home, all those hundreds of miles in Wisconsin. And I get through to this lady, and I explain my situation. And she's incredibly gracious. Just look, it's okay. Yes, we absolutely can do that for you. Just take it easy. Just hang with me a little bit, and we'll get this all set for you. And she was kind enough to stick with me on the phone as I went back to the credit, or I should say, to the ticket counter of the rental agency. They moved the funds onto my business credit card, which wasn't my debit card, and this they would take. So she stayed with me on the phone through all of the permutations this guy had to go through. There were a couple of things that happened where something went wrong and he had to start over. But again, she was very gracious, and the guy basically finally said, okay, you're good. And I thanked her and concluded the call, but I was very grateful that my credit union would do this for me so I could get home. I could get that rental vehicle that would fit all my gear and I could get back there and load up and get home. It just was something else. And so anyhow, I get this handled. I'm taking this walk, this long, slow walk down this, airport terminal to where the rental vehicle is, and I hear this patter behind me, and it's getting closer, and I turn around, and it's the ticket counter guy. He's running to catch me. I'd left my phone. It's like, oh, okay, thanks. I'm just totally out of it. And I get into the parking garage, and there's these guys, laughing with each other, kind of joking. They're the people that are going to take me to the vehicle, and I'm just kind of joking with them a little bit because it's like, I can't believe this. It was so close. It seemed so much like things weren't going to work out. And I have this situation where it finally did, and I'm just like, wow. Just the thinking is, can you believe it? Just how close this was. And so this guy takes me to all these rental vehicles and just says, take your pick, and it's kind of weird in a way because it's been such a struggle. I've been trying for days to get something that would work. And finally, here we are. So I thank him, pick this black Chevy Equinox, and hop in. And I'm sitting there to acclimate myself with the vehicle controls a little bit because I've never seen one of these. And two, I'm just kind of trying to reacclimate myself to, hey, it looks like it's going to work. I'm going to get out of here. So I take that drive back to the hotel. This thing's new enough that it's got a button, and I have to press that and get it going. And so I get to the hotel. I get to my room. My gear is still there. I'd gotten a couple of carts, so I loaded everything on, get it down there. I ran into the other musicians. The guy in particular who had dropped me off was really helpful. We helped each other load up, and he headed off, and I wished him and his lady friend well, and they're driving back to Colorado. Other people that are with their, I was saying goodbye and everything. I've got everything loaded. I go to the vehicle. I'm going to start it and get out of here. And it doesn't start. And it won't start. And I couldn't believe it. Here we are again. It's like, man, there's something that says the key fob battery is dead. And so, well, if that's the issue, I don't know. Regardless, I need help. So I call the rental place, and I explain my situation, and the guy basically says, well, if it's just basically the key fob battery, just go find one. And I didn't lose it. I came close, but I didn't lose it. I just told him, listen, dude, I'm not from here. I don't know where anything is. This thing isn't working. I need help. So they agreed to send an Uber driver, and the guy was really helpful. He's worked in the rental vehicle industry before, so he kind of knows the lay of the land, how to help me. We go to this Walmart that I wouldn't have found, and I go in. It's across the other side of this big store that there's a battery for this thing. And they only come in 6-packs. Fine, whatever, buy it. Go back to the rental guy, and we drive back to the hotel. And so he was kind enough to stick with me until we were sure it would start and stay running, and it did. And just thanked him, and he went on his way, and I said goodbye to the last of the people that were still there, waiting to catch their flights. They're gone. I'm the only person that's left, and I'm still... Now it looks like I'm going to get home, but I got to figure out the directions. So I've got my atlas. I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to get back to the highway so I can get home. And this guy, one of the bellboys, comes up and says, hey, what's kind of going on? And I told him, and he gave me these real simple directions. It was like right, left, right, right, and so on, stuff like this. And it's like it's like 3:15 now. I mean, this is how long all this has taken. But I thanked him, and I headed out in this rental vehicle. I've got all my gear. It's working. I find the highway. I get started on the highway, headed back, and it's just like, wow. It was such a surreal experience, but it looks like I'm finally going to make it. The only problem is that I've lost so much time already. It's late Monday, and I'm driving as long as I can, as hard as I can, and I'm still in Oklahoma, and I'm falling asleep. I've got to stop before I fall asleep and crash. And I made it to this rest stop, and it turned out they sold this really comfortable, spongy travel pillow. I've got all this gear, so I can't lean back in the vehicle, but I can lean my head against this travel pillow, and I could sleep for a few hours, and then I've got to get going because I've got to get this thing back. So I got through the rest of Oklahoma. I got through Missouri. I'm in Illinois at a rest area, and I'm calling the rental company to say, please, can you just give me a little more time? I'm just not going to make it. They said, no, you got to pay more. Okay, fine, whatever. So I get back to my county, my municipal area, just as my deadline is hitting. And I've still got to get to my apartment, unload everything, and then I can go over and drop off the vehicle. And I'm not sure how I'm going to get back at this point. But I come into the apartment. It's one of these 4-unit deals, and the neighbors downstairs see this strange vehicle and ask me, well, what happened? Well, yeah, the vehicle is back in Texas. It died. I had to get this rental vehicle to come back, and I'm going to unload everything and I'm going to drop it off. Well, do you have some way to get back? Well, no, not really. Well, just here, let me help you. Let's get you in, and I'll drive you over there. I'll follow you. I can drive you back then, and it'll work. So it's like, okay, thanks. We drive over to the airport, and I let this thing go and take care of the last of the charges, and the guy is still waiting for me, and I get back in with him, give him some money for gas, thank him. We headed back, get back up to this apartment, and I'm stepping over gear, and I just collapsed on the sofa. Finally made it, and I would start the process the next day of looking at how to get another vehicle and whatever. But I guess the thing to take about this, and I really should wrap this up, is they tell you got to be positive. Everything's got to work out, right? You got to be positive so it'll work. And there's one thing that I've found that trumps being positive, and that's persistency. You've got to be persistent. Persistence, you've got to do that. So if everything's going wrong, you're in a situation like this, you've got to keep taking steps. You've got to keep trying things. So that turns on the switch of the universe to work and send things to you on your behalf. You can't bitch, you can't complain. You've got to just keep trying things. You've got to believe it's going to work out as best you can, but regardless, you've got to keep trying things. And it's that persistence that's going to see you through. Because if you continue to give it that effort, that's when things are going to happen. People are going to help you. You don't need to be a jerk. It helps when you're not. Be the best you can be in the situation. But persistence is what's going to get you back. And it got me back, and I'm grateful for that. And it's time to wrap up. We'll talk soon. We'll see you in the next one. Link is in the bio, and we'll go from there. Take care.